Okay, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully, all of you had an amazing Labor Day weekend. I woke up this morning, Andrew and I are in Colorado, and we're expecting snow this morning, or this afternoon, really, which is pretty exciting. But allow me to introduce myself. My name is Cindy Kidd. Andrew and I are global directors, and we've been coaching for about 2.5 years now. I want to start this morning with a little bit of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful human emotions we have because it honestly gives us the ability to shift our whole day's perspective. So, with all of you who are on Facebook and all of you who are in Zoom here, I want you guys to pop in a few things that you guys are grateful for this morning before we get started. Let's see it flowing. The rain, family. What else? Let's see a little bit more energy in the chat today. Fellowship and training, the ability to dream. Oh, that's a good one. We talked a lot about that yesterday. This meeting. Nothing really kicks off your day better than starting it with coaches, right? In our healthy family. Making healthy changes. All these kids, so many. Lots of family. I love that. So today, as you guys just kind of sit in gratitude, hopefully you guys have all fueled up, you have your coffee. I have my pumpkin spice in my mug this morning. Hopefully you guys are ready to go. Today's topic is all about client support and really kicking off a new client correctly. But before I do that, I want to tell you guys a little bit about our story. Some of you may or may not know us, but I'm just going to kind of pick up where we left off yesterday with dreaming and building your dreams and making them a reality. So Andrew and I started coaching a couple of years ago, really just to pay for Andrew's food. We were putting it on a credit card. We weren't really financially stable, honestly. It's what we call, or what I often call, rich poor, where we made a lot of money, but we spent a lot of money and we had a lot of debt. Our philosophy was basically if we can afford the bill, then we can afford that toy or whatever it is that we wanted to buy, which is not a good philosophy to have. So we started coaching. It honestly, within the first couple months, we weren't like super fast runners at first. But Andrew did ask me, like, well, what if we just did what the Bombas told us to do and see what happens? And I said, okay. And within a couple months, we started paying for his food. I jumped on program, and then it started paying for both of our kids. And then it turned into, well, gosh, this could actually, let's just kind of keep going and see what happens. And so we did. And we went to convention July of our first year. We were EDs within 4 months or so. And things kind of started to shift, right? Because you start to hear kind of like things that other people talk about, right? We have these amazing leaders on stage telling us what the potential is and how we should be doing things. And Andrew and I started to connect the dots a little bit. And from there, our business just kept growing. And it turned into the point where within our first year, we were able to pay off about $30,000 worth of debt. My student loans, credit cards, we continued to pay off debt into our second year. And then come July of last year, I got my layoff notice after working in corporate America for 14 years for the same healthcare organization. And I loved my job, or aspects of it, right? Because I think all of us can find nuggets that we enjoy, but we could probably find a lot more that we don't enjoy. And our careers really were just kind of like the center focal point for a long time because we wanted, well, because we were in debt, to be honest with you. But come July, I got my layoff notice, and it was probably one of the best days ever because at that point, it had already replaced my 6-figure income. And so there was no stress that most people would receive getting a layoff notice. It was cool. We both get to do this full time now. And that's where we've been since then. We moved to Colorado literally a month later. And here we are now, absolutely loving it. And we just purchased a home that we're building, and hopefully we'll be in at the end of March. So that's just kind of giving you guys the idea of what's possible those dreams that we wrote down, those things that we put on our vision board the January before last, those all came to fruition. So do the action steps. When we ask you to do things, it's for a purpose and in a reason. And it's typically because those mentors before us knew what they were doing because their mentors told them what to do. So it's just kind of how this business works. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're simply kind of following the lead, which is the best part. So this morning, let's kick off what happens when we start off a client successfully. Because when it's all said and done, we want to build a business that's very much referral based. And when we can create a real good structure around this and support our clients really well from the get-go, you will build something that's pretty phenomenal where your friends and your family will think of you when someone's thinking of losing weight and they'll say, oh my gosh, my best friend just took the best care of me. You need to contact him or her. Or maybe they're not your best friend. Maybe they're just someone that you've helped that was referred to you, but you did take such good care of them that now they're referring their friends and family. So I'm going to go through kind of high level steps, not super high level. I'll talk about them in detail, but I want to talk about what's going to happen after you place your client's first order and how to posture what their support looks like moving forward. So first and foremost, you place their order. My biggest piece of advice for you is don't like a la carte or specialized kits if you don't have to. The only question I ask people before I place their order is if they do have any allergies or any flavor profiles that they absolutely hate. Every now and again, someone will say, yeah, Cindy, I don't like chocolate. And I'm like, ooh, like who is this person? And so oh, sorry, somebody walking in. They don't like chocolate. And so I want to make sure that if I'm building a kit that it has no chocolate in it. And so those are the only two things I ask them to make sure that whatever does come in their kit is actually set up okay. Now, I don't want you guys like giving them the list of things that are in their kit. I always tell them it's like our top favorites that people really enjoy. And the main reason for that is for you. It'll save you a lot more time if you have the ability to just pop in a kit and process the order. That should take no more than like 3 to 5 minutes to build their account and put their first order in. The more that you posture that some of these foods may not taste great to them, or they may not enjoy some things more than others, you're already planting seeds in their head that when their box comes, they're going to be like, oh, I don't know, Cindy said that this one may not be my favorite, but it's in my box. All of these may eventually be their favorite. Of course, some would argue the red berries, maybe not so great with that cereal, but we know our taste buds are going to change. And so I would not bring anything up in terms of how the food tastes, what they can expect, what they may or may not like. Put the kit in there. It saves you a ton of time. So placing that first order is important. You want to make sure as you bring on your coaches, you help them through that process too, so that they know how to do that, so that they get credit for their new client versus potentially you getting credit for their new client. So setting up the account, that's pretty much the easy part. What happens from here on out is what's most important. Now, when I place that first order, there's a few things that I posture at the beginning. One is we're going to send them that welcome email. That welcome email, or whether you send it via email or messenger, is up to you. But that kind of sets the tone for what they can expect. It gives them the condiment list. It gives them their login information. They may not look at it right away, but at least they'll have everything contained in one spot. If you don't know what that email is, reach out to your mentor coaches. It's also in Simple Systems coaches as well. And you can filter it and make sure that it's actually within your flow. Now, from there on, you've sent them the welcome email. You're going to add them to the community. It's honestly, the community is one of my favorite places. And I know every now and again, someone will say, oh, I don't really use Facebook. You will be surprised how many people, depending on how you talk about the community and the power of it, will actually start using their Facebook just for that reason. And I tell them they don't even have to go on Facebook and scroll and get like lost in the drama. They can go straight to the community page in the morning or afternoon and have that be the only thing they look at during the day. So you want to welcome them to the community. That's the best part, because we all know whether you're in Journey to Health or Optimal Health Journey or whatever your client support page is, we want that community to welcome them into what's going to be the best part of the rest of their life. So make sure you tell them where the information is in the group, check out the files tab, browse around with the pictures, feel free to post in there. I encourage people to post and ask questions in there to get the engagement up. But that community component, that's one of our 4 pillars. So if you have clients that maybe don't have Facebook or don't really want to participate, you may notice that their journey may be a little bit difficult or a little bit more challenging because they're not utilizing the 4 pillars of the program. And we know that more people, like 80%, will be more successful if they have the community support around them. So welcome them to the page, have them take a peek around. That's kind of step number 3. Number 4 is setting up a start date and a kickoff call. Now, I don't care when people start. You may hear some people say, well, I suggest, starting on a Monday. It's their journey. If they get their box and they're ready to rock and roll the next day and it's Wednesday, cool, start on a Wednesday. We want them excited to start. We don't want to convince them to start on a specific day or wait until the day after a holiday. No, if they feel ready and willing to start before a major holiday, please have them start before a major holiday. We had a client start like a week before Christmas last year and didn't deviate one bit. When they're ready for this, they're ready. So please don't try and convince them otherwise, whether it's vacations, holidays, birthdays, etc. Let them start when they want to start and just be their guides through that process. Now, when you're doing their journey kickoff call, there's a few things I want you guys to really focus on and really posture, because this first week is like the most critical week of their program. You want to posture what your support's going to look like. You want to posture what they can expect from you in terms of calls, and you want to posture what they can expect after the first week. Now, mind you, even before their kickoff call, you're sending those 3 pre-messages. If you guys don't do that, those are really important too, because they have to take the well-being assessment. There's some other little tasks for them to make sure you're setting them up for success. And it also gives them tips or tricks, like make sure you got a scale, right? Like make sure you have these tools at home to set you up for success your first week. So those pre-messages, really, really important to send out. If you haven't been sending them out, that's okay. Just reach out to your mentor team. Make sure they send you the link for all of the daily client support messages. So come kickoff call. What do we talk about? Well, we talk about what their day one's going to look like. I wouldn't overwhelm them. They already get this huge box in the mail with books that are the size of textbooks, right? I mean, I often have clients say, I don't know what I just got myself into. These things are huge. Let's not worry about that right now. Let's just worry about getting through your first day tomorrow. And we walk them through what that first day is going to look like. We make sure they read the little tiny spiral guide. If they haven't, I ask them to go grab it so we can reference it together, especially when we're talking about their lean and green recipes and what they may be having for their day one. We go through a schedule. So what time do you wake up in the morning? They say, oh, Cindy, I wake up at, typically around 6 a.m. Okay, your goal is to eat within the first hour tomorrow, ideally the first half hour. And then we're going to build their schedule while we're on the phone so that they know they have to eat every 2 to 3 hours. And then I'll follow up that message and put it in their group chat so that they have a copy of what their first day is going to look like. So you're going to run them through their day. You're going to ask them to set aside their first 5 fuelings that they're going to have ready for the day. That's super easy, right? Like that's the best part. It's just convenient. Grab it off your shelf. You're going to ask them what they have prepared for their lean and green the next day. We know the lean and greens tend to be sometimes the most complicated part of the program because some folks get really overwhelmed by it. I tell people, keep it really simple the first week. If you want to do, rotisserie chicken and salad, awesome. Let's do that. Let's just make sure that we're weighing that out and measuring it the first day. So walk them through that, make sure they understand they're weighing their protein after it's cooked, they're measuring their vegetables. All of those nitty-gritty details is what you want to review when it comes to the lean and green. We're going to talk about water because water we know is super important while they're on program. We're going to talk about whether or not they're coffee drinkers and if we need to start brainstorming the night before on how they're going to prepare their coffee in the morning, right? So you want to make sure you're literally running through what their first date looks like. Now, after that, you want to make sure you're posturing what your role is as a coach. We heard Tiffany talk about it yesterday, right? Like if we don't have the proper client support, they're just going to fall off, right? Like we're getting paid for a service, and that service is to support our clients. And so outside of the journey kickoff call the night before, you're going to connect with them nights 1 through 4. And they could set the time, right? I always tell our clients, preferably after your lean and green, so we could talk about how that went. Doesn't always work that way, which is okay. But you want to make sure that you have those times set for those first 4 days. It's just an expectation. And I tell them that's like, I want to make sure you're really successful. So these first 4 days, we're just going to be talking about the mechanics of the program. Make sure you're eating on time. We're going to talk about what you're eating. We're going to review all of that stuff so that once you're in a really good fat burn, you have the process down. So you're posturing the days 1 through 4, non-negotiable. You're going to let them know after day 4 that they're going to continue to receive messages through day 8 from you. Although not that, you're not available for questions, right? But you're just no longer going to be doing daily check-ins with them via phone. But I always let them know if something does come up, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always available if you have a question. But after the first 4 days, we're going to go to weekly phone calls. Now, those weekly phone calls, you guys, those are like the golden nuggets. Make sure that you have a structure in place to support your client calls on a weekly basis. We'll be talking about that later this week, so I'm not going to really dive into that. But what I do want to talk about is the celebration call. Because after week 1, they're in fat burn. If you've kicked them off really well and you've done days 1 through 4 check-ins, come around their first week, they're going to message you or call you or text you or whatever and say, oh my gosh, I'm down X number of pounds, which will be amazing, right? Like we all love those emotional deposits as coaches when people are really successful on program. We want to bring in our mentor team to celebrate them for so many different reasons, right? We want to celebrate their success. We want to do a systems check and make sure that everything is on point. Because we all know we have those clients where they tell us one thing and then suddenly our coach gets on the phone and I'm like, wait a second, why are you telling Josh you did that? You didn't even tell me you did that. So it's really important that you connect them with your mentor team because it is that second set of ears that can do a systems check and do just some little bit of fine tuning so that they do have the most optimal success while they're on program. Now, some of the other reasons why we do celebration calls is because we get to drip coaching a little bit. Our mentor team, I mean, for some of us, I know for Andrew and I, we were terrified to talk about coaching when we started. Like we didn't bring it up for, 4 or 5 months. So that honestly, we handed that opportunity over to Josh and Michelle, who can talk about it during our celebration calls. And, you just drip it, right? You pick up cues on these calls. They have the ability to talk about what it's done in their lives as well. And your mentor's story may resonate with your client a little bit when coaching does come up. So those calls are kind of non-negotiables for your client's success on program and also for your success as a coach, because maybe you will find those coaches in there in some of your celebration calls. Now, let's see, what else do I want to cover? I think that's just about everything in terms of setting up your client up for success. What I do want to do next is bring in the lovely Danielle Bonton, and she gets to talk to you guys about follow-up structure. And this is really critical too. And so she's going to take it over for the next 10 to 15 minutes or so and take a deep dive into that topic for us.
Good morning. So yeah, like Cindy said, she's talking about starting up clients, but what I'm going to be actually doing is continuing on from what was talked about yesterday morning. You heard from Tiffany, Anna, and Josh about, getting on the phone and doing that health assessment, how to do one, what we really want to get to. So what I'm going to be talking about is the follow-up. So, when you get on the phone, you're doing the health assessment, obviously we want them to say yes. You're going to get people that say yes. So you're going to get people that are ready. They're like, it sounds great. I'm ready. Let's sign up. And then, that is going to happen. And okay, we want to have those people that come, but you're also going to have the ones that they're just hesitant. They have the questions. So, what I have to share with you is stuff that I've learned from personal experience and also from these amazing trainings and boot camps that we offer. So I want to just bring hopefully a lot of value to you. So I have a lot of notes. So get ready and hopefully I can bring some value to you. So like I said, it all starts with the health assessment. So the number of clients you're going to have is going to be a direct result of the number of health assessments that we do. So you're going to have a lot of health assessments. My binder is thick. You have that's part of it as well. Is you have your binder. This came in your coaching kit. It's going to get messy. It's going to get thick. It's going to have papers everywhere. But that's where that organization comes in too. So that's what the coaching kit and binder is about, is to make sure we get organized. So again, you're going to have all those health assessments. Not everyone's going to be ready, but that doesn't mean after we get off the phone with them, we never contact them again. That's where the follow-up comes in. So there's several ways following up and to keep track of that and just to keep that communication going. So it's showing that we care about them. It's showing that we just didn't get on the phone to make a sale. It's showing that we care about their health. We want to get them started on, their health journey and get them to that why that they were explaining to us, that, whether it's running around with kids, their kids, or just being healthier, they have health issues in their family. So we always want to go on expecting that they're going to say yes. We want to be positive. We want to always just keep that mentality. And whether they're going to say yes on that call or not, we don't know, but they're going to say yes at some point. You need to be willing to do the follow through at the follow-ups, because, it's going to take time to build that relationship with them or find the right time that they're ready, because we don't want to rush somebody into this. We want them to be ready at their time for their health journey. Because if they sign on just because they feel pressured or they think it's the right thing to do, they're not going to be successful. So be willing to follow up. I mean, it could be anywhere from 7 to 8 times. We have to remember, life is still happening. So we're here. Our daily goals are to reach people, to share Optavia with people, share health and happiness and hope. But other people have things going on. I mean, look at the world right now. There's pretty much just mass chaos wherever you look going on. So, people aren't always thinking of themselves or thinking of spending money on their health or a program or taking that leap of faith, not knowing what they're getting into, spending this money. So we have to remember, life is happening. There's job issues, finance issues, family stuff going on. So we cannot take it personally when people say, I need to think about it, or they're not ready. They're going to be ready in their own time. And that's when you want them to come on. So again, like I said, the follow-up is going to take organization and determination. We have to keep going. We can't quit. We have to be consistent, just as we are with our posting and sharing our stories. We have to be consistent in our follow-up and see it through. The journey begins after that health assessment. So we've already explained, program to them. We've heard their goals, their whys, and it could take months. We have plenty of examples. I'm sure a lot of you do too, that you've talked to somebody, kept the relationship up, and it's still months later, they're finally ready. So how do we follow up? So, after you do the health assessment, they're not ready. Okay. So, you want to, before you get off the phone, say, hey, you know what? Do you mind if I follow up with you? 10 times out of 10, they're going to say, yeah, sure, no problem. No one's going to say, no, thanks. I don't want to hear anything more about it. More than likely, they're going to say, yeah, no problem. So just ask their permission, keep that conversation going, and then set a time. Say, hey, say we do a health assessment on Friday. Give them the weekend to think about it, talk with the spouse, whatever the reasoning might be, and say, hey, do you mind if we check in on Tuesday? So we want to ask permission, set something up, get a time frame in mind so that we're not just throwing it out there and we're just going to call them randomly. That way, again, we're giving them time to think about it. A lot of things going on in people's lives. We cannot take this personally. We just have to be consistent. Decide on that time, use your calendar. So this is another tool that we need to use as health coaches. You know, life gets messy, life gets busy, and we need to be organized. And the calendar, I learned that quickly on as I started accumulating more and more clients. You have your, like Cindy just explained, you have your weekly calls. The first week you start a client, you have a call the first 4 nights. We have all of our trainings. So we have a lot going on. And whether you have 5 clients, 10 clients, 20 clients, we want to support them all the same way. So we need structure. We need to keep, you know, organized using your calendar. That's a huge, huge part in making sure we follow up with them. So we also want to assume that they desire to be healthy. Give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, just because they say no right now, that doesn't mean they're not looking to get healthy. We want to encourage them. You know, they're not ignoring us. You might even follow up. A few times I've done that. I'll look at my chain of messages and there might be like 2 or 3, you know, messages for me checking in, seeing how they're doing, if they have any questions about anything, and no response from them. Don't take it personally. You know, again, life is happening, and who wouldn't want a message coming to them just asking how they're doing? You know, I would love if somebody sends me a message, hey, how are you doing today? You know, you're not bothering them, you're checking in, you're showing them that you care. So you're continuing that relationship, that you're a caring person, that you're showing what a great health coach that you are and that you can be to guide them when they are ready on their journey. There's ways to talk with your mentor coaches. There's plenty of stuff we can send following up. So after the health assessment, we have our follow-up email that has the little video in it, the ebook in it. That's a great way to follow up. Something you can ask them, did you have a chance to look at the ebook or the video? And also you know, adding them to our groups. We have our support groups. Ask them, have you had a chance to look around in our support groups? Do you have any questions about that? So these are things to help follow up. And then also ways we can, you know, ask questions, see if they had a chance to look into that stuff. Sometimes when people do look into it and see all the great positivity and things happening in our groups, get more information from that follow-up email, you know, that, you know, the wheel starts turning, they get more excited, and they might turn around and say, yeah, I'm ready. So that's really important. Another great tip I heard on a training is sending before and after transformation stories personally to them. So, you know, we post that, we share that, people share their stories in our groups. But, you know, everybody has a story. It might be they're dealing with a health condition, diabetes. They might have a lot of weight to lose, so a longer journey than others. So we have our transformational stories. You might have clients, send that to them. Just send them their stories, their NSVs that you know, they were been able to get off blood pressure medication, you know, diabetes, all that stuff, all the NSVs. So make sure that we kind of personalize that. You know, we were on the health assessment, we heard their heart, we listened, we know what they're looking for out of this. It's not just to lose weight. There's so much more behind this. And so when we personalize that and show them that we heard what they were saying, you know, that's going to resonate with them as well. So just show them, you know, we're here. We believe in you. You know, like this can happen. This can happen for you. And we're going to be your biggest fan and your biggest believer. Okay. So now for following up with clients who aren't ready yet. Okay, so you've done the health assessment. Maybe someone over a month ago, you know, they aren't showing much interest in starting program. So again, we want to continue with those follow-ups. Even monthly is okay. We want to, you know, just keep that conversation going, whether, you know, we're following them, we're friends. Maybe they just had a baby, maybe they got a new puppy, maybe their kids are in school. You just want to kind of, you know, relate with them, just have that conversation going, you know, congratulate them on a new baby or a puppy, or ask them how things are going with, you know, now we're having distance learning. I have my 3 little ones at home, you know, so that's a hot topic right now. We want, you know, just to keep the conversation going, let them know we're concerned, we're interested, that it's not just pushing something on them about joining program. it's just really important to keep that going. I still have that going with a lot of potential clients, but we just want to keep it going, letting them know we're not here pushing or selling anything, because we're not. We're sharing our story and letting them know that there's hope and that they can do this too. Um, just stay connected. Um, be creative with, like I said, the conversation that you're having, just different topics. It doesn't always have to be about health. Be positive. People want positivity right now. Things, again, a lot of bad things in the world going on in personal lives. So people like seeing that positivity and hearing that. Um, so we have our follow-up Friday we've all heard about. So you want to go again into your binder. You have all the folders in there. That first one is our clients that aren't yet ready. Now, if you've been doing this a year, 2 years, I mean, that folder is going to get thick. You might have to even do a separate binder for these health assessments that people are just not ready. But you still, I mean, want to follow up with them. So make sure, again, when you're doing that health assessment, we're asking them their why. We're taking really good notes so that when we do go back, we remember that conversation we have with them and what they're really looking to accomplish. So maybe we follow up with somebody, or we've been seeing them on Facebook posting, and they started their own health journey, whether it be with another program or on their own, whatever it might be. And they're talking about how they've lost 10 pounds, 15 pounds, how they feel amazing. We want to, acknowledge that. Just because it's not on program, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. They're taking back their health. They're doing it in the way that they found works for them right now. Still doesn't mean they would not be a future client. So we always want to show that support no matter what. We're health coaches, and that's regardless if people are on program or doing it another way. So again, like I said, some examples of following up is just shooting them that message in Messenger. We want to connect personally or even texting. I really like doing the voice text or voice messages. It just kind of makes it a little more personal. They can hear you. They can hear your, your joyful, positive, your voice. You want to send them that and let them know, hey, I'm thinking of you. How are things going? And just be really positive. And people really like hearing that. And if you feel like it, a video message, those are awesome too. People like seeing face to face, so it makes it more personal for them. So you will, like I said earlier, sometimes it takes 7 to 8 times to follow up with people, or even longer. We don't know what's going on, but at some point they will be ready. And we just want to keep that connection going. So some organizational tips before I finish here. Again, that binder, you want to make sure every health assessment we keep, and if they're not ready yet, it goes in that first folder. Keep it organized by date. If you need to make notes on it when you're following up, we want to make notes and stay organized that way. Using your calendar, again, everything I have had to live by my calendar. If you don't, it gets really messy, and we don't want to miss calls because then that's, falling out with our client support. We really want to make sure that client support is there for our clients. So make that time, be consistent, and that will equal success in your business. You will get yeses. Also, another thing that I have done as far as following up is old clients that have dropped off. I have friends that it just didn't work out for, but they're still my friends. I'm not going to pressure them into signing up again, but I'm still friends with them. I still talk to them and shoot them messages here and there, see how life's going. And then also, again, other old clients that maybe weren't friends before, just follow up with them, see how they're doing. Maybe they started another health program, maybe they're doing fine on their own, but keeping that connection. I have had, even just last month, I had 2 old clients sign back up because quarantine happened. The weight came on, they're feeling miserable, and they want to get healthy again, and they know that program works. So following up even with old clients, because when they're ready, if they never finish their journey, they will come back. Again, lean on your mentorship team. They have laid the path for us. They have set the example. It's a duplicable system, follow-up system. So that way we are going to be supporting our clients the way that we've been supported. And we're demonstrating that example as being coaches, because in the end, we're also looking for coaches to join us. So we want to make sure that we're following up correctly and giving them the best example so they know how to lead when their time comes. For more information on the follow-ups, as far as your tools, documents, videos to use, again, talk with your mentorship team. There's so much out there. There's so many trainings, documents, all kinds of information that we want to use. It's there for us to use to, to get those clients, to give them that information. Maybe there's one thing that they'll hear and the light bulb's going to go off, and they're going to be ready. They're going to know this is right for them. So we don't want to leave anything out. We want to give them as much information as we can. And in closing, just go for it. We don't want to leave anybody out. We want to give everybody an opportunity to join us on program. We know this is life-changing. As now that we've become coaches, we've been able to share this and see more journeys. But not only in losing weight, we just know how much this has changed all of our lives. And now that we've been able to help friends and family. So no fear, no excuses, just do it. That's all I have.
That's all she has, you guys. Come on. That was amazing. That was more than just a little bit. I took a ton of notes, which I will talk about some of the nuggets I took away, but I want to see in the chat, what are some things that you guys took away from Danielle today? I put down a couple. We don't want to rush people into their journeys. So true, right? Like the longer you're in this business, you're going to realize like, oh my gosh, I did that health assessment a year ago and they're just now coming back. If you're branding yourself well, they will come back when they're ready for it. We definitely do not want to rush them. Being positive, I loved that. You are your brand. We talked a little bit about that during the new coach orientation this past Saturday. What you say on Facebook, how you represent yourself is so incredibly important. So be that shining light in Facebook on their feed versus all the negative things that are happening right now. The journey begins after the HA. That's so true, right? I mean, you have the health assessment, you completed it, you got to know their goals, but it doesn't mean you stop talking to them. You build those relationships in a real, genuine, and organic way. And I love, love, love the video tip. In fact, sending voice messages, sending videos to them, that creates such a personal touch. They're going to come back when they're ready. They always do, right? Some of you on this call may have been one of those individuals that didn't actually connect back with your coach until maybe months later. So, be consistent. I'm seeing get organized in the chat. Yeah, all kinds of good stuff today. Awesome. Well, next, after we've followed up and after maybe we have a client, I can't think of anyone better to join us next than Mr. Eric Boyette, who is going to go over not only the new client checklist, but Danielle talked a little bit about the binder system. Eric's going to take a deeper dive into the binder system so that you know how to use it and how to set yourself up for success to stay organized as you grow a big business. So Eric, go ahead and take it over, my friend.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi, everybody. Oh man, I love these, this call in particular, all this stuff. Like, what are we hearing? We're hearing structure. We're hearing about organization. And sometimes it may not be the most exciting stuff to talk about, but it really is super important to growing a massive business. And I want you to keep that word in mind as we talk, especially if you're kind of a newer coach. Massive business. Okay, so what's working right now may not work as you grow your business to new levels. If you want to do yourself a huge favor, whether you're a brand new coach or you've been around for a while and you have a certain level of clients, but you're looking forward and you're thinking about what is this going to look like when you guys have seen the leaderboard. I mean, we've got people out here with like $30,000 front lines, right? I mean, that's 150 clients or so a month that they're dealing with. How do they do that without losing their ever-loving minds? It's a good question. We should probably have the Tillmans come on and explain that to us. Because I do not run 150 clients, but I have been dealing with 50 plus clients pretty much for the last 2 years. I've always got 50 clients or so. So we're going to talk a little bit about this and why it's important. When I loved hearing what Danielle had to say, and trying to start my timer here or I'll go crazy. But what really came across to me as I'm listening to Danielle and listening to Cindy, and what we're going to learn even more on these trainings as they go, and you're going to hear so many trainers say this, right? We're planting seeds. So I love this analogy. But when it comes to organization, which again may not be the most exciting part of this, but how important could it be? Because basically we're walking all along, we're planting seeds. I'm planting a seed over here, here's a seed over there. There's someone I spoke with, there's a new client. Oh, this client asked me about coaching. Oh, seed, 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 seed everywhere. So when you have hundreds and hundreds of these seeds, that's gonna not do you a whole lot of good if you don't remember where you planted them. Like we need a map. We need to know where those leads are. Who are my next clients? Who are my next coaches? Who among my coaches are the next senior coaches? Who among my senior coaches are the next EDs? Who among my EDs are the next FIBCs? We are trying to grow every single person we know to a fantastically successful business owner who is healthy in their mind and their body and their finances. Is that going to happen with everyone we know? Absolutely not. But I get real clear with myself every day. This is the business that I'm in. I want to change people's lives. And the best way I can do that is to get organized in what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'm just kind of like here and there. I'm like the little robot vacuum cleaner all over the place. But I know I'm hitting the same place 10, 20 times and missing the corner over here. So that's what we're going to talk about is some of the binder and how do we get started? Whether you're brand new or you've been around for a while, like let's say you just decided, I want to get organized. I love that feeling. Number one, you remember the first day of school? I love that stuff. Get me my Trapper Keeper. I got my new folders. I'm all organized. It may fall apart by the end of the first week, but man, what a good feeling to get organized. So if you love nerding out on that stuff like me, then you're going to like this. For me, really getting started on the right foot when I became a coach, one of the first things I did was I wanted to get all my contacts together. I put all my contacts in a list so that I could work through them and have a place to keep notes as I build relationships or talk with people about the ways that I could help them. So I would recommend, getting all of yours into one place. Combine them in Google Contacts or on your phone or on a spreadsheet, in a planner, on a whiteboard, in a notepad. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's up to you, like whatever works, but it's helpful to think of what is my business going to look like a few years from now? And is this sustainable? I mean, a whiteboard might be great for an intentional list. Is it great for all of your contacts? Knowing you're eventually probably going to have about 5,000 contacts? Probably not. You're going to need something a little bigger. We're going to need a bigger boat. So I want to get them all down, and I want to select people from that contact list for my intentional list. And I use that every month. So if you're a brand new coach, think about how you want that to look and operate as you increase your network. You may only have a few hundred now, but as you learn, and as you're going to hear in this series how to grow your network, it's going to be beneficial for you to grow that massively and to have a handle on it. Like, how am I going to select these people? So the binder system I want to talk a little bit about. And we are going to talk about the client checklist, but this is all part of one and the same. I mean, first of all, we have a health assessment, right? And if you're like I used to be, or if you're not working on paper, maybe you just print page 1 and 2. But the second, the third and fourth page are also important. You've got these nice little places where you can put in first week updates, check-ins, things like that. We also have a client checklist. I'm sure we're going to put these all in the group where you guys can find them. But the client checklist is fantastic for those of you who love having something to check off, especially. Schedule a call, make a call. I'm not going to go through all of this, obviously, but it literally goes through like the health assessment, helping them with the order, adding them to the groups, introducing them, putting on the calendar the night before call, the kickoff call rather, your celebration calls, like all of that stuff is here. If you use that client checklist, you really can't go wrong. So how does this work with our binder system? I mean, first of all, I love the binder system because it's super low tech. And you can teach this to any coach. Okay, so always keep that in mind. No matter what you end up doing with your organization that you use for yourself, you want it built around the binder system, because I want to be able to teach this to new coaches. Am I working fully in a binder at this point in my business? No. I have OneNote, I have spreadsheets, I do a lot of different things to keep me organized because I have a lot of people to track, but it's still all built around that success system. Nothing has changed. Everyone I know is in a bucket. They're a contact, aka a lead, or they are a potential, aka a candidate. That's one of your folders, candidates. Or they are a new client. That's another one of your folders. Or they are an active client. On top of that, we also are going to have people who are past clients or inactive clients. So actually, I would think in terms of like 5 folders. I have all my contacts. I have potential candidates. Those are people that I have spoken with about program. I've had a health assessment with them. I have new clients, and I have active clients, and then I have inactive clients and coaches. So 6 folders potentially. Think about all that. You may not have that business just yet, but you're going to. Anyway, like I was saying, a new coach doesn't need to be tech savvy. That's the best thing about this. Anybody can use it. So we're going to talk about some of these different ways of approaching that. In the binder system, as it was designed, we have 3 folders, and it's a great idea, like I said, to think of your contact list as a 4th folder. So that's everybody you know already. In that list, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep people's names, their contact info. I'm also going to have a notes section. So I can make little notes about discussions we have and dates. This can be a list, a document, a spreadsheet. This can be down on a piece of paper. You could literally just make a sheet with contacts and make one sheet for every person if you want to be all paper. Any way you could do it. Now, I'm not going to work off my contact list. It's too cumbersome. I mean, I have about 3,000, 4,000 contacts, so I need to narrow that down. I'll never be able to give everyone the attention they need if I'm just bouncing around on my contact list each month. So I want to put some of them in an intentional list. Here's a big hint. Create that each month with your map, which actually the map, if you print out the whole thing, includes a contact list, AKA intentional list. That's what we're all talking about when we say that. So I'm going to create that every month. And that is people that are either on my heart, or maybe it's just their turn, because I am trying to purposely work through all my contacts. So I'm going to go to my contacts, pull out at least 100, maybe more. 100 sounds like a lot, but honestly, 100 people, that's built off the 3x3 system, which means if we talk to 3 people every day in a month, we could talk to, guess what, 90 to 100 people. So if you're trying to grow your business bigger, stronger, faster, then make that intentional list 150, 200, 300, 500. It's certainly doable, but you want to move people over there. I keep people on that intentional list unless they're not engaging with me. You know, if I've been trying to build a relationship with someone and it's not going anywhere, I'm not going to keep them on my intentional list month after month. I'm going to replace them with someone new. My idea is to contact and interact with those people throughout the month and to move as many as possible into a health assessment. Once a health assessment is done, they'll either order and they're going to go into my new client folder, or if they don't order on the spot, they're going to go in the binder system as a candidate. That's where we know we're going to keep their health assessment and the handy update pages, which allows us to track all of them. So if they did not order, I'm putting them in my candidates list. And I might put this in there. I might put the client checklist in there. I definitely want to use the client checklist if they actually signed up. So why not go ahead and put it in there now, because I know one day they're going to sign up and I'm already ready. There's lots of blank space on that client checklist where I could put updates, you know, people I'm following up with. What did they say last time? That stuff's good to know. So that candidate folder is important because that is your golden list of not yets, right, guys? Everyone in your candidate folder, which is going to end up, you know, it starts off as this little folder. I mean, for me now, my candidate folder is an entire filing cabinet that I have alphabetized of every health assessment I've ever done. So when I want to build, I've got a month where I'm like, hey, man, my front line's slipping. I really need to pull out some clients this month and make it happen. That's the very first place I'm going to go to. I've already done how much work with those people. I already took them to the phone. We already had a health assessment. They said not now, no, not yet, whatever it was. But as Danny mentioned, I want to keep them engaged. So I don't want it just to be a sales call. Like I want to follow up with these people regularly. And of course, if we do have an incentive or you decided you're going to do scholarships or something, wellness credits for people, that's who you want to talk to. A lot of those people maybe put it on the side or thought they couldn't do it because of the money. So that's if you have an incentive or something, those are the very first people you want to let them know, hey, not sure this is something you're still interested in. I've got their health assessment right here handy. Before I contact anyone, what do I want to do? I want to take a peek at that health assessment, remind myself of a few of those things, especially from the first sections where we were talking about awakening people and we were learning about their why. That's what you need in your hand when you want to impact somebody. So anyway, that's why the candidate list is super important. I'm going to go to these people. I'm switching gears now back to the intentional list, right? Move people to my intentional list from my contacts. I'm going to take those people. I'm going to go to their folder, their profiles, where I'm going to like, love, comment. I'm sure you guys are going to have a whole presentation on this later in the training, so I don't want to get too far into that, but I'm going to engage them and I'm going to message them. Those follow-ups that we have, they don't have to involve asking about programs. You know, I'm just trying to build a relationship with these people. Every time you talk to them, you already had a health assessment with some of these folks, or they already know what you're about. So you don't have to like straight out ask them about programs. They're thinking about it already. Especially with those candidates. I know I'm switching back and forth a little bit here, but those are your two lists that you're working off of most of the month, your intentional list and your candidates list. So you'll see in our leadership, a lot of times Josh is reminding us about Follow-Up Friday. That's what that's about. That's the candidates. I want to go to them. I want to interact with them. I don't have to be pushy about program. I already had a health assessment with them. They're thinking about it as long as I just speak to them. So that is a great way to kind of churn your group, you know, churn your contacts. That's where you're going to find these conversations that are going to turn into health assessments, turn into clients eventually. Now, on the other hand, when someone does sign up, we want to take that health assessment, we want to take those extra sheets, and we're going to move it into the new clients folder. This is going to help ensure that we're on top of their first week messages, their first 4-day updates, because I tell you, there's nothing worse than not supporting a client correctly during that crucial first week. That's how you wind up with someone who doesn't stick to the program. That's a one-order client. A one-order client is not where you want to be. You could have a ton of those, but it's a lot of work. You want people that are engaged for so many reasons. It's better for them. It's better for you. I want those people to literally be vocal with their friends. You know, every person has a good experience. This client checklist really helps us to make sure everyone has a solid experience and gets the support that they need. The other list that we have, the 3 folders, is the active clients folder. Now that one's pretty self-explanatory, but it's still important. Once I know someone is in fat burn and we've completed their celebration call or their tip call, depending on what you're calling it in your group, that's when I'm going to put them in there. That's the people that know the program. I now have set up a weekly call with them. They're kind of on autopilot. Now we're focusing on the life book. I'm no longer having these big calls with them and talking about every, you know, piece of food that they ate. It's more about what progress are you making in the life book? How's it going? What is the plan? What is the goal for next week, next month? You're training these people how to set goals for themselves and how to obtain them and hold themselves accountable. So keep those in there. If you need to add in some blank sheets, that's also a great idea. I usually take, like during a call, I'll take a little bit of shorthand notes and then I'll add them to the sheet when I'm done, or in the notes section of your spreadsheet if you're doing that. The success system's always the same. Whether you're using paper, whether you're digital, it's still these boxes that we're putting people in. So these are the questions to ask yourself. You know, am I organized? Can I find what I need quickly? Can I tell at a glance where a contact falls in the process? Can I find them and have room to make notes about our interactions and updates? Will this work for me when I have 10 clients? What about when I have 100 clients? Can I carry this system with me? Is it on my phone? Is it in a single binder that I can carry with me? Is it something I can take and travel with and work my business anywhere to have that freedom? So once you've built that system, and one of the biggest things is to use it to your benefit. You're going to take it with you everywhere. So after each call, make those notes. The other thing I suggest is take 30 seconds before a follow-up or a check-in call to check your notes, refresh your memory about their health assessment, and get to their why. You want to have that in focus when you're doing updates with people. If you know someone's why before every conversation, they're going to feel like you know them, and they're going to know that you care. You're going to be best suited to share with them authentic stories of others and from yourself that apply to their needs. It's going to help you provide value. It's going to help you connect authentically. And that's what this is all about. Okay. Creating the organizational structure to help you connect in an effective way that makes everyone feel valued. Because that's at the end of the day, and I'm wrapping it up here, that's what we want. We want every person that we interact with to feel important to us. We want them to know that we care about them, and we do not want them to feel like it's a sales interaction. We do not want them to feel like we came to this conversation wondering what's in it for us. We want to be totally focused on what we know about them or what we can find out to add to our files about what is important to them, and then be organized enough so that the next time we have an engagement with them, that's on the forefront. You ever talk with someone like that who remembers what you told them last week about parents, their job, the struggles in their life? That's the key to authentic relationships, which is what we're all about. I'm going to kick it back to Cindy.
Wow, thanks, Eric. Super helpful. Jot down in the chat group what some of your takeaways were. I know today probably seems like real like elementary type steps as we're really kicking you guys off from like the very beginning when you talk about a health assessment like we did yesterday, and then segueing into client support. But all these itty bitty details, y'all, really make up a pretty awesome business. So it's so incredibly important. One thing I love that Eric asked, one of his last questions was, can you tell where your clients are in the process? Like, are you that organized that if someone were to ask you, hey, where's Susie? How's she doing? Could you pull up that piece of paper or that Excel spreadsheet that you're tracking and know exactly where they're at? And does your model need to change? Because sometimes I know for us, our models change drastically over the years. So whether you're supporting 5 clients or 20 clients and that binder system really works, other people, as they're growing a massive business and maybe supporting 150 plus clients, their system may look a little bit different, but still the foundation of what that binder has designed for us. So awesome job, Eric. Thank you both, you and Danielle, for today's training. I have the pleasure of talking to you guys about your action steps, and then we'll wrap it up and you guys can go on with your day. So yesterday, hopefully all of you did the action steps, was to share your story, right? Like a transformation story, before and after a sugar shot, holding dog food, whatever it is that you chose to do. I saw some pretty fun ones yesterday. So I saw that most of you did that. Second one was just as important, and that is to make sure that you have your goals written out. Your 3-month, your 6-month, your 1 year, your 5 year, etc., and to hand them over to your mentor team so that they can help you start building out some of those goals and working towards them. So what I want you guys to focus on today, step 1, is perhaps a little bit of cleanup. Go check out your organizational system. Go check out your client support in week 1 and see if there's any tweaking that we need to do. Is your binder organized? Have you scheduled all of your 1-week celebration calls with your mentor teams? If not, let's work on that today. Let's make sure that there's a rock in the schedule where your mentors can help your clients talk about coaching, make sure they don't need to tweak anything, etc. Second of all, which I think is even more important too, is we've built these incredible goals yesterday. I saw some that were pretty amazing. I saw goals where people want to leave jobs. I saw goals where people want to pay for vacations, buy some fun toys, do house remodels. Whatever your goal is, I want to make sure that the time you're spending in your business reflects your goal. I often ask our coaches during our weekly coach calls, especially during their MAP calls, is what structure are you building this month to support your goal? Is the time that you're spending in your business going to put out what your goal is? For example, if you tell me, gosh, Cindy, I want to be FIBIC this month. And let's say you have one senior coach, but you're only willing to spend 20 minutes in your business every single day. I might tell you it's going to be really tough to hit FIBIC with only spending 20 minutes in your business every day, right? So what I want you guys to do today is really think about structure and what you're going to do different this month. And if that means, connecting with your mentor team, talking about your structure, finding those little 15, 20-minute gaps in your day where you can fill it in with business producing action steps, you're going to get the best results. I asked somebody last week during some coach calls, she's like, Cindy, I don't have time. She's going back to school. She's a teacher. She's working 12-hour days. I simply asked her, if you did have time and you could find time, where would it be during your day? And suddenly she's brainstorming and she's like, well, maybe I could use, 15 minutes during my lunch break. Maybe after the boys go to bed at 9 o'clock, I can work for 30 minutes. Suddenly we found 45 minutes in her day to support her goals. That's what I want you guys to work on today. Go through your day. What does it look like? And start to build that structure and send messages to your mentorship team about what you're going to do different, whether it's working your business an extra 30 minutes every single day. Maybe it's a little bit different for you, but I want to make sure the time you're investing in your business is going to get you your ultimate goal. So those are the two things I want you guys to work on. Have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone.